Yeah.
I don't get it. Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores.
Got it.
Are you ready, Brad?
I think so.
Let's do this.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1301, May 3rd, 2024. 93 degrees on this day in 1949.
That's
and
the record.
18 degrees on this day in 1967. Back in 1949, Aquaside products did not exist. Had they, kids would have been swimming on this day in 1949. If you want a lake home or a pond on your property, you want to keep it free of weeds and algae for swimming, get a hold of Aquaside, a White Bear Lake company that's been making these products for more than 60 years, keeping beaches free of weeds and algae. The products they're not used. When you get them, they're brand new.
Right.
Oh, I see.
The products are easy to use and they work quickly. And they're
Go get
registered.
some of that used
Use some
stuff.
used Aquaside.
Get the stuff from last year.
They're registered with the EPA and DNR, and the products work. Don't let weeds overtake your lake. Call Aquaside, describe your problem, and they'll get you the right products. 1-800-328-9350, or go to aquaside.com. And Aquaside has been kind enough to bring us our lake openings, which end today.
Oh, no.
No openers today, but on Sunday, May 5th, Minnetonka went out in 1857, 1895, and 2018. It went out on May 4th, tomorrow, in 1859 and 1860. White Bear went out on May 4th, tomorrow, in 1950 and 2018. So what we can say in our summation is that by the end of business, Sunday, May 5, all ice is open.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake,
In other words,
it's Garage Logic with
There's
Chris
no May
Reaver
7th
manning
opening.
Technology Corner, Kenny Olson
it.
from the Krabby Coffee Shop,
I
John
gotta turn my
Heidt
ringer
in the
off.
newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
I'm joining. Did I see a picture of Inge at the Capitol?
You sure did.
Whoa.
The
As-
U.S. Capitol?
As,
Our state capitol. He wasn't wearing any Garage Logic garb, was
as
he?
our mole pointed out, thank God he wasn't wearing his GL hat or mirror helmet.
Amen.
Well, what's wrong with the helmet? That thing's awesome.
He was saying he held up a poster, crudely drawn. Say her name, and he was referring to Nicole Mitchell.
You're kidding me?
Nope.
No, I'm
Awesome,
not.
Ingy.
He is in his own way.
That's awesome.
In his own way, he's the experience.
He had some
He
time.
is.
He had
He
some
is.
time yesterday.
Living up to his nickname.
Right.
We've reached the point in the country where there's certainly a larger dynamic in play when it comes to, for example, the political class on the third rail. They all fight to hold on to their jobs, no matter how many tawdry things are found out about them. They have no class. They have no ethical or moral backbone. They've let it go. And Nicole Mitchell isn't the only one, for God's sakes. It's just part of the act on the third rail. No matter how separate these rails get from the rest of us, they all behave in ways where they're not ever shamed.
Right.
Doesn't anybody ever get ashamed of their behavior? And I'm sorry for Nicole Mitchell if she's having some personal strife, but her story gets stranger and stranger and stranger. And she has no business voting on or creating legislation for the people in the state of Minnesota who are paying the bills.
Right.
None. Now, Tom Hauser got to the stepmother who Nicole Mitchell allegedly got into the stepmother's house, ostensibly to look for her father's ashes. I'm not sure I even buy that anymore. I think it's become a very strange story. But Tom Hauser, we'll play the audio. He got to the mom involved in this, the stepmom.
Give me a second.
And
Here.
he went through other proper channels to get into the house, right? He didn't go in the back door.
I think he.
She came in through the bathroom window.
Is this a problem for you, Chris?
I need a second.
Uh,
KSTP side is not cooperating.
While he is doing that, may I interject something about Mr. Engie?
Of course.
If you go to his Facebook page, I don't know where you got info that he wasn't identified as a
Well, you got
GLer.
that from the mall. From the mole.
The mole obviously didn't see Engie in the hallways of the state capitol and at the top of a set of steps holding a large Garage Logic flag straight out.
No.
Come on, Ingy, don't do me any favors.
No.
Don't help us out.
Don't.
Oh,
You're kidding, right?
The only thing that's firing right now, so I'm going to
No.
ask for clarification,
Sure.
is the actual KSTP report
Okay.
in which Tom reads quotes directly from the mother. Is that
Okay, that's fine.
Is that going to be okay?
that's fine.
Sorry about that.
That's
The
fine.
KSTP
I don't
says-
think it's your fault.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
In the case. Chief political reporter Tom Hauser spoke with the stepmother this week and brings us details of their conversation. Tom.
Yeah, Lindsay, I spoke with Carol Mitchell for about 30 minutes this week. She told me she was married to Nicole's father for more than 40 years until his death a year ago last March. Carol says she and Nicole have always had a strained relationship, but she has no idea what led her into Carol's basement in the middle of the night last week after not having spoken to her for months. A criminal complaint says 49-year-old Nicole Mitchell broke into her stepmother's home in Detroit Lakes through a basement window in the early morning hours of April 22nd. Her stepmother, 74-year-old Carol Mitchell, woke up during the alleged burglary. She was dressed like a burglar at the foot of my bed. I get goosebumps just talking about it, Carol Mitchell told me in a phone interview this week. In a statement posted on Facebook after her arrest and being charged with first-degree burglary, a felony, Nicole Mitchell said, like so many families, mine is dealing with the pain of watching a loved one decline due to Alzheimer's and associated paranoia. Over the weekend, I learned of medical information which caused me grave concern and prompted me to check on that family member.
Through the
In an
basement.
interview, Carol Mitchell acknowledged she was recently diagnosed with, quote, very early stages of Alzheimer's,
Who is
but
it?
says she never talked to Nicole about it and that the two haven't spoken in months and rarely ever speak to each other. Carol told me she had no clue it was Nicole in her home. The 911 call log showing Carol referring to a man who had broken in. Asked for her reaction to Nicole's Facebook post, Carol Mitchell said, "You don't make a care call in the middle of the night in a bandit outfit," adding, "I'm scared to death of her." In her mugshot, Mitchell is wearing black with her hair tied back. The criminal complaint says Mitchell was wearing a black hat and when arrested told police, "Clearly, I'm not good at this," and, quote, "I know I did something bad." She later told police she was trying to get her late father's ashes and other items. But Carol Mitchell told me, quote, "I sent her the ashes in an urn the shape of a bobber because Nicole's dad was an avid fisherman." Carol Mitchell says she has no idea what prompted Nicole to show up at her house when she did. She told me, quote, "I think she meant me physical harm. There's no other reason to be on the floor of my room."
Thank you. Well, I don't believe a word Nicole Mitchell's saying because there's so many holes in her story that it's unverifiable. She does not deserve to be in the legislature, and it's pathetic that, and this would be true of Republicans. I think most listeners would believe me when I say that. It's pathetic to hear Aaron Murphy and the rest of the gang and the DFL defending her. There is not a reason in God's earth this woman should be in the legislature. None. Where is the shame? Where is the moral and ethical decency? She's got to go. And if that screws up your vote, that's too bad. And this is a silly, silly situation that she's even there.
The one positive thing I will take from this, I love the term bandit.
I do like the term bandit.
It was pretty obvious something was really wrong when the story changed on day 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just got progressively worse for Nicole.
Did you guys find it curious? At least I did, because, I'm the cynic on the show. But did you guys find it curious about how prepared she was with the looking to care for a loved one that had the early onset of Alzheimer's?
Well, which we learned from the stepmother is all BS.
Right.
No,
She didn't know any of that.
John, question for John. Do you think she actually came in through the bathroom window, or
I don't know.
I was-
Was she protected by that silver spoon? I'm not sure.
I
Could
think
be.
she might have been. Yeah.
But what was she doing
I
there?
thought I knew the answer.
Seriously, what was the reason?
Well, the stepmother
say.
believed she was there to do her harm.
That's terrifying.
Next week, she'll be the subject of an ethics committee hearing. Senator Mitchell resigned now, came cries from just the other side of the door of the chambers yesterday. 15 to 20 people, we now know Ingy among them, chanted throughout the session, and several Woodbury residents held a press conference in the afternoon. DFL sources correctly noted that almost all of them were active GOP officers. So what?
They would do the same thing.
Fox 9 went to Woodbury to get opinions. The responsible thing to do is resign and make sure that people have public officials who are operating and conducting themselves in a way that meets the very highest ethical standards, said a Woodbury resident, Adina Bergstrom. I think she deserves her day in court, said Kate McLaughlin. I think she should resign only if she is found guilty. Okay. Without a resignation, there are still a couple of possible roads to removal. The Senate Ethics Committee takes up her case next week, and they could recommend expelling her. Former GOP Senator and political analyst Amy Koch is skeptical of that being the result, because you have 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, said Koch, and so sometimes what comes out of an ethics committee is a nothing burger. She said a recall is also an unlikely scenario. I think a recall should be taken under very serious circumstances, Koch said. This may rise to that. I think it has risen to that. But I have no confidence that the voters of Woodbury just wouldn't send her back.
Right.
The state Supreme Court would have to rule that it's true she was convicted of a serious crime, and a petition would need almost 10,000 signatures to get a recall election scheduled. There won't be a recall. There won't be a recall.
What were you saying at the beginning of the program about no shame? Not
No
one
shame.
of them, Joe. Not one of them.
It's just no shame. I just don't understand how you function like that. I really
Yeah.
don't.
Well, we're a clown show.
How do you
We're not a
live with
serious
your...
country.
No, so I mean, the GL question is, how do you live with yourself?
Right.
I couldn't live with myself.
The stepmother's comments are extraordinarily telling and disturbing.
Unless we're falling victim to her telling tall tales.
I don't think
But it
so.
doesn't seem like it.
I don't think so.
I'm going to
Yeah.
take the word of the woman whose house was broken into at
Yes.
1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right.
With a
It seems-
stepdaughter in all black at the foot of her bed. I'm going to
Yeah.
take the old lady's story.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Wait, what? What do you, what? Huh?
I wonder, excuse me, I think this might be germane, although you could argue, I guess it's none of my business. I wonder if Nicole Mitchell has ever been married.
Yeah, probably not germane.
Well, it would be if the guy had talked.
Oh, yeah. If we could get comments from the husband or the ex, yeah. Well, you're
Well,
maybe. What do they call that
well,
character?
You mean getting a? Yeah, not surprised.
Or I don't know if she had a partner or not.
She has children, or at least one.
I think
she maybe has
she
adopted
adopted, I
children.
think.
Okay, she next has a court appearance in Becker County, not till June 10. Of course, the session will be over by June 10.
Well, she's got to do the work.
She
of the
should have
people.
stepped down.
Yeah.
This occurred last Monday, a week ago, this past Monday. She should have stepped down the next day. But there's no shame. There's just no shame or backbone in any of these people, including the people defending her. You have no backbone whatsoever.
And Tom needs to go out and find the ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, whoever it may be.
I am on her Wikipedia page, and I do not see anything linking her to a significant other.
Whatever. That's not.
I'm just saying that usually sometimes for someone that's in the public spotlight because she was an on-air meteorologist, sometimes that stuff is noted but is not on her page.
The not necessarily unrelated in terms of a sense of entitlement. I believe that hand in hand with the absence of shame is a sense of entitlement. Well, I'm a legislator.
Once they walk through the plane,
you'll just have to look past me.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Well, and not necessarily unrelated to that, we've learned that Marissa Simonetti, who survived a primary for a District 6 Hennepin County seat, she'll face Heather Edelson, who is an evil garden equipment banner. No, she's not evil, but she's just she doesn't like lawnmowers because somebody told her not to like them. So now in November, the ballot will feature for District 6 residents, that's Edina, St. Louis Park, Mound, out that way, Marissa Simonetti, a mom, a businesswoman, a straight shooter, we've had her on the air, versus this careerist named Heather Edelson, who's married to a very wealthy guy and presumably has nothing else to do, so she likes to run. And I'm rooting for Simonetti, but we learned that who Simonetti edged out of the process was a woman named Jen Westmoreland. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't even edge her out. Westmoreland placed fourth in a special election primary among a field of 6 candidates. And of course, she's a professional DFL activist, which means she's never done anything, and a school board member. But her anger is she's now her lip is curled. She's pouting that she didn't get the gig because she's saying that Walz gave her a cold shoulder last fall. Ooh. Gave her a politically calculated cold shoulder while she was running for the vacant seat on the board. And she believes that Walz gave her the cold shoulder because she's Mary Moriarty's wife or husband or something. I don't know which one she'd be. She's in there somehow.
I think they go wife and husband and husband.
Well, I don't even know if she's that. She said she has a relationship with Hennepin County attorney Mary Moriarty.
Oh,
Walz has distanced himself from Moriarty on a handful of occasions over the last year. This week, he questioned the Hennepin County attorney's hiring of outside counsel for his prosecution of State Trooper Ryan Londegren. Jen Westmoreland placed fourth in a special election primary on Tuesday. The top 2 vote earners in that race, I didn't know this. The top 2 vote earners in that race advanced to a May 14 runoff. So that seat doesn't go to the November ballot. They need to fill it before the guy resigns, apparently. And so they're going to a runoff May 14th that'll feature Edelson and Simonetti. Come on, District 6, you got a real chance here. In a post-primary reflection she posted on Facebook Wednesday, Westmoreland shared the difficulties she's experienced running as a progressive queer woman. Go bleep yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that entitles her to the seat.
Yeah, are you entitled because you're a progressive queer woman?
Oh, gotta get her in there.
I share this because I know I'm not alone. We have so much work to do to create an inclusive democracy. Oh, lady, shove it where the sun don't shine. Westmoreland said in a social media post. She alleged that leading up to a press tour Governor Walz held at Eisenhower Elementary School in Hopkins last October to tout early new education spending, the state's top elected Democrat requested Westmoreland not attend the event. At the time, Westmoreland was serving as chair for the Hopkins School Board, and she believes she was targeted because of her domestic partnership with Mary Moriarty. A handful of prominent DFLers, including former DFL House Majority Leader Ryan Winkler, criticize Westmoreland for running for an elected office that oversees the budget of an office controlled by her significant other. That would create quite a conflict, wouldn't it?
You think?
A request by Governor Walz that I, as chair of the Hopkins School Board, not be present at a press conference on education funding that he was giving at a school in the Hopkins School District. I attended. Imagine attempting to tell a twice elected official where she can and cannot be in her own district, Westmoreland wrote. Members of Walz communication staff have not returned a request for comment. This is a piece from, where am I getting this? Alpha News. You just don't find a lot of this stuff in the Star Tribune, do you? Westmoreland also contends she was peppered with inappropriate comments about her relationship with Moriarty during the DFL Senior Caucus endorsement screening. These people live in a world of hot mess, don't they? It's just a world of a hot mess.
It's a bubble of entitlement.
It's just amazing. After I answered a reasonable question about how I would handle a potential conflict of interest, giving my partner's elected role, a senior caucus member inquired about the nature of my pillow talk with the county attorney. A representative for DFL Senior Caucus has not returned calls for comments on that terribly nasty comment about pillow talk. This is much bigger than me. Similar things happen to queer women and gender expansive people in politics everywhere. Why don't you go get a job in a hardware store?
Joe, she's a victim, Joe.
You know what?
She's whiz.
We always talk about people playing the race card. Well, she's playing the gay card.
She is.
That's what she's doing. She's now a victim.
Does this happen to straight couples involved in politics?
Yeah.
Well, it just happened to Noam. She shot a dog and a goat. See what happened to her. To people with straight and cisgender children, is this what we want the political discourse to look like? Yeah, we do, Westmoreland.
She should talk to Carville and Mary. What's
Mary
Mary Matlin.
Here's where she comes off as terribly entitled, almost as though she thought she had this in the bag. Westmoreland was the first of 8 candidates to announce her campaign for what has become a highly coveted seat on the board, which oversees a $2.7 billion budget, the largest in the state. The position pays more than $113,000 a year. And she is really upset that she thought that maybe with the help of Walzy, she could have waltzed in there, but now she's turning on Walz because he didn't back her up.
Like it's a job reference.
God almighty.
Like a soap opera.
No, he's good for the
You
job.
people are a mess. You're a mess.
We might need help from some GLers because I know we have some listeners that are county commissioners. What's the job of a county commissioner? Do they set policy? Do they decide what's right and wrong? Or do they
fund
just
Twins ballparks and they set budgets for county attorneys and they
Okay, so it's more than just paying the bills and taking care of business and fixing roads and stuff.
And you can imagine that she would be heavily influential in spending money on queer projects.
Kenny, I can answer your question. I know a guy out in the Southwest area.
Yeah.
And his main job was funding the town ballpark.
Yeah.
Let me say to what's your name? Westmoreland.
Yeah.
Let me say to her what I say to all queers: be queer, but shut up.
Yeah.
Who cares?
care.
You're
I
not
can't be
special.
I'm not sure about my area, but I think one of the county commissioners, his main job in the spring is to drive around and shoot gophers.
Absolutely.
I think that's what he takes care
I don't
of.
even need a license.
He's a county commissioner. Come